spaceship shuddered. Marcus Vega pulled back on the throttle. Space groaned. Hydraulic systems hissed. The viewport filled with rust-colored clouds swirling like blood and water. "Sivara," he muttered, reading the navigation screen. Another hellhole. He didn't want to land on this desert-covered planet. But his spaceship didn't have enough juice to stay in space. The landing was rough. It always was on frontier planets. No air traffic control. No landing protocols. Just gravity and luck. Marcus had plenty of experience with both. He'd worked as a military pilot for 20 years before being discharged from the Army. Some bureaucrat's idea of restructuring. Now he traveled planets for exploration with his own spaceship. But this landing was necessary. The spaceship, a beat-up Corsair-class transport vehicle he'd named Valkyria, screamed. Through the depths of space, heat shields glowed orange. Warning lights on the console flickered. Marcus ignored them. He'd been flying with faulty systems for 3 years. One more landing wouldn't kill him. He had to find a solution to the spaceship's malfunction. Otherwise, he'd be stuck in the void of space. The planet appeared below. It looked like Earth's giant deserts. Sivara, a mining colony that had turned into a smuggler's paradise after the corporations pulled out. Red sand stretched for miles. Sharp rock formations jutting from the ground like broken teeth. And somewhere in that barren terrain, a sprawling settlement was trying to survive. Port Kale, where people went when they wanted to disappear. Marcus landed at a rusty spaceport on the settlement's edge. Valkyrie's landing gear touched the metal with a screech. He shut down the engines and sat quietly for a moment, feeling the ship settle. Taking a sip of water, he grabbed his jacket-worn leather, passed in dozens of places and checked his gun. A Spectral X9, reliable, deadly. He'd carried it through 12 combat tours. Now he used it against bandits on the planets he traveled. The cargo bay door hissed open. Red sunlight poured in. Marcus stepped onto the platform and immediately regretted it. The heat hit him like a fist. Dry, oppressive, the kind that burns your lungs. But despite everything, discovering a new planet was Marcus's favorite thing about intergalactic travel. Port Kale stretched out before him. A labyrinth of prefab buildings, rusty domes, and scrap spaceship parts welded onto structures. Neon signs flickered in languages Marcus didn't recognize. All kinds of aliens walked the streets. Humans, too. All running from something. Marcus headed toward town. His boots crunched on sand-covered metal walkways. The air smelled of ozone and cheap fuel. Music thumped from somewhere. Voices argued in dozens of languages. This was a place where you could get killed for looking at someone wrong. Or for no reason at all. He needed information. On this planet, aliens and humans turned to big bars and cold drinks to escape the heat. The rusty Nova stood in the settlement's heart, a massive dome built from a fallen cargo ship's hull. The entrance was a wide hole cut into the metal. No door, no security, just darkness and noise. Marcus walked in. The place was packed, bodies pressed together in dim light, smoke hanging in the air, tobacco, synthetic weed, worse things. The bar itself curved along one wall, bottles of every color lined up behind it, tables scattered across the floor. Most were full. Cards, dice, money changing hands, strange alien encounters, and the customers. Marcus saw everything. Multi-armed Krillians dealing cards, tall and thin. Burly Kryn arguing over drinks. A few humans sprinkled around, and others. Species Marcus didn't recognize. Some humanoid, some not. Every kind of life form the galaxy housed. He moved toward the bar, shoulders tense. Always alert, always ready. The bartender was a gray-bearded human with crisscrossing scars on his face. "What'll it be?" "Whiskey," the bartender grunted. "Watch it doesn't knock you out." "Old man, just give me what I want." A glass appeared. Brown liquid sloshed inside. Marcus took a sip. It burned. Probably synthetic. But it was wet and alcoholic, which refreshed him on a planet like this. He scanned the room, looking for patterns, threats, opportunities, old habits. The kind that keep you breathing. That's when he saw her. She moved through the crowd like water. Smooth, purposeful, not quite human, but close. Her skin had a slight metallic sheen under the lights. Silver lines circled her jawline. Her eyes purple. Bright scanned the room with predatory focus. She wore tactical gear, black, form-fitting, armed, a pistol on her hip, knives strapped to her thighs, and she was beautiful. Dangerously so. Marcus watched her disappear into the crowd. Something about her felt wrong. Or right. He couldn't decide. He returned to his drink. That's when he felt it. The absence. His hand went to his hip. Empty. His bag he'd set down gone. Stolen. Marcus scanned the crowd. Whoever took it was good. Professional. Everything was in his bag. Even his gun. He dove into the crowd. Suddenly a fight broke out. Dust and chaos everywhere. He threw himself outside. He caught movement. An alien running between buildings. Small. Fast. Marcus chased after it. The pursuit continued through Port Kel's maze-like streets. Narrow alleys. Hot planet. Stacked cargo containers. Makeshift shelters. Marcus kept the thief in his line of sight. Barely. The alien moved like smoke. Then it stopped. Marcus slowed, breathing hard. He'd reached a dead end. Rusty walls on three sides. The figure stood in the middle. Small. Humanoid. Hooded. Give it back, Marcus said. He picked up a piece of iron from the ground. The alien laughed. Not a thief? Someone else. Marcus turned. The woman stood behind him. The woman from the bar. Up close she was even more striking. Her skin wasn't just metallic, there were circuits beneath the surface. Blue skin tone. Faint lines of light pulsing with heartbeats. Cybernetic enhancements. Military grade. You surprised me, she said. Her voice was smooth. Accented. Not quite matching any language Marcus knew. Give me my bag back. She smiled. It's not that easy. The hooded alien threw Marcus's bag to her. She caught it without looking. Marcus raised the iron piece to strike. Last chance. Give it back. She didn't flinch. You going to hit me? In Port Kale? If you don't give me my bag. Yes. Crimson Syndicate. We run this place. Port Kale is my turf. Smuggling, theft, protection, all the fun stuff. She opened the bag. Rummaged through it. Not much in here. Some credits. Ammunition. Boring. It's mine. It was yours. She pulled out his backup pistol. A Reaper 5. Compact. Deadly. Nice piece. I'm keeping this. Marcus lowered the iron piece to the ground. But the woman was right. Hitting her would start a war. And he was one man with one gun against an entire syndicate. She studied him. Purple eyes calculating, measuring. You're military. I can tell. From the way you move. The way you think. What are you doing here? None of your business. You're in my city. It's my business. She tossed his bag back to him. Empty except for worthless ID chips. Want your gun back. Your credits. Then you work for me. Not interested. Then you die. Simple. She signaled. Figures emerged from the shadows. Armed. 10. Maybe 12. All had guns pointed at Marcus. He set the iron piece down slowly. The woman smiled again. Smart. I'm Calith. And you're about to become very useful. Marcus sat in what could be called Calith's headquarters. A warehouse converted into an operations center. Stolen technology covered the walls. Monitors showed security footage from Port Kale. Armed guards stood at every entrance. Calith lounged in the chair across from him, her feet on the table. She spun the Reaper 5 in one hand. Here's the situation, she said. A weapons shipment is coming to this planet. Military grade. Plasma rifles. EMP charges. The kind of hardware that will make you king in the outer reach. I want it. Then take it. It's not that simple. The shipment's protected. Corporate security, heavy. I need someone who can get past them. Someone with military experience. She pointed the gun at him. Someone like you. What if I refuse? Then you leave Port Kale in pieces. Your choice. Marcus leaned back. Thought he could try fighting his way out. Low chance of success. He could run. They'd hunt him. Or he could play along. Do the job. Get his stuff back. Then disappear. What's in it for me? Your guns. Your credits. And a bonus. 50,000 credits. Enough to keep you flying for a year. Marcus thought. 50,000 was serious money. More than he'd made in the last 6 months combined. Okay, but I work alone. Calith laughed. No. On my planet. You work the way I want. Then we'll have problems. We already have problems. Marcus Vega. She knew his name. Of course she did. She checked his ID. But we'll solve them together. Or you'll solve them dead. Now let's discuss the details. The next 2 days we're planning. Calith had intelligence on the shipment. Arrival coordinates. Guard rotations. Weaknesses in their security. She was meticulous. Professional. Not just some thug with a stolen gun. Marcus began to respect her. Reluctantly, they worked at headquarters. Bent over maps. Ran simulations. Calith's team was good. Experienced. They pulled off dozens of heists across the reach. But this was bigger, riskier. The shipment lands here, Kayla said, pointing at a map. A plateau 20 kilometers from Port Kale. Corporate shuttle. For guards. Maybe 6. They'll unload the crates onto a ground transport. That's when we hit them. You're assuming they'll follow protocol, Marcus said. They always do. Corporations love their protocols. What if they don't? Kayla smiled. Then we improvise. Marcus studied her. Confident. Maybe too much. But she had resources. And he needed those resources. What's your story? He asked. My story? You're not human. Not exactly. The cybernetics. The enhancements. That's military tech. Expensive. Who were you before you started stealing cargo? Kayla's expression hardened. Your jaw dropped. Don't lose your head. That's not an answer. It's the only answer you'll get. Fair enough. Marcus had secrets too. The day of the heist came. Marcus prepared. Tactical vest. Ammunition pockets. Spectral X9 on his hip. Kayla had given it back. A sign of trust. Or a test. Kayla wore her own gear. Black armor with integrated shields. Her pistol, a plasma variant, glowed faintly. She looked ready for war. Remember the plan, she said. We hit them fast. Grab the crates and get out. No heroics. I don't do heroics. Good, because heroes die. They went to the plateau in a space cruiser. For others came. Kayla's best. Griggs, a massive Kryn with a shotgun. Sella, a human woman with a sniper rifle. To others, Marcus didn't even bother learning their names. When they arrived, the plateau was empty. Red sand, rocky outcroppings, perfect ambush point. They waited. Marcus crouched behind a rock, checked his weapon, scanned the horizon. The sun beat down. Sweat dripped into his eyes. He ignored it. Then he heard it. The hum of engines. A shuttle descended. Corporate markings on the hull. It touched down 50 meters away. The ramp lowered. 6 guards emerged, armored, armed, moving with military precision. This wasn't going to be easy. On my mark, Caliph whispered through the calm. Marcus tensed. Finger on the trigger. Now. Chaos erupted. Gunfire shattered the silence. Marcus moved on instinct. Fired. Roll. Took cover. One guard dropped. Then another. The others returned fire. Plasma volley scorched the sand. Caleb moved like a ghost. Fast. Deadly. Her pistol blazed. Another guard fell. Griggs charged. His shotgun roared. A guard flew backward. Chest smoking. Then everything went wrong. More guards poured from the shuttle. Not 6, 12. They'd been waiting. Ambush within an ambush. Fall back. Ambush. Kayla shouted. But it was too late. They were surrounded. Marcus fired until his magazine was empty. Reloaded. Fired again. Sella took a bullet. Was hit. Fell. Griggs roared. Charged the guards. They shot him down within seconds. Marcus and Caliph were alone. Behind a rock. Back to back. Enemies closing in. This was your intelligence. Marcus snapped. Shut up and shoot. They fought. Side by side. Marcus didn't think. Just reacted. Muscle memory. Survival. Infantry training he'd gotten in the military. Then Caleb moved. Ran toward the shuttle. Marcus followed. They hit the ramp. Dove inside. Sealed the door. Guards pounded the hull. Can you fly this? Caleb asked. Marcus was already in the pilot's seat. His hands flew over the controls. Engines roared. Hold tight. The shuttle shot into the air. Guards scattered. Marcus hit the throttle. The shuttle screamed across the plateau. Plasma fire chased them. Then they were airborne. Free. Marcus didn't slow until they were 20 kilometers away. Kayla sat in the co-pilot seat, breathing hard. Blood on her armor. You're fine, she said. You're crazy, she laughed. A real laugh. Maybe. But we're alive. And we got this. She pointed to the cargo bay. 3 crates. They grabbed them in the chaos. Marcus landed the shuttle in a canyon far from Port Kale. They opened the crates. Enough firepower to arm a small army. Caliph grinned. Worth it. Marcus wasn't so sure. 2 of her team were dead, and they barely escaped. But looking at her bloody, smiling, alive, something shifted inside him. Respect. Maybe more. What now? He asked. Now we celebrate. Then we plan the next job. There's a next job. Always. She looked into his eyes. You leaving? Marcus thought. Valkyria was still at the landing platform. He could take off. Disappear. But he didn't. He wanted more. What's the job? Kayla's smile widened. Something big. They searched for a place to take shelter on the planet, circling around in their spacecraft. They landed between the canyons surrounded by large rocks. The canyon became their temporary base. Marcus and Kayla spent 3 days there. The stolen spacecraft became their shelter. They stayed in the canyon for 3 days. They made plans. The weapons offered them options, and something else happened. Something neither of them expected. An intimacy had formed between them. They began talking more, sharing about each other's lives. Kayla shared fragments from her past. Fragments. She was a soldier too. Not human. Not exactly. Her species, the Valari, had been at war for generations. Engineered. Turned into a weapon. Cybernetics altering flesh. Humanity, or whatever resembled it, had been stripped away. They made me efficient, she said one night. They were sitting by a small fire. Stars filled the sky above, but they forgot to make me loyal. So you ran. I survived. There's a difference. Marcus understood that. He'd been surviving for 3 years. Day by day, planet to planet. Never settling. Never connecting dot until now. He looked at the woman across the fire. How the light played on her metallic skin. How her violet eyes caught the flames. She was dangerous. He knew that. But she was also real. Honest in a way most people weren't. He hadn't found this intimacy on the great planets in the depths of space. What's the big job? He asked. Kayla's expression changed. Back to business. Port Kale is sitting on something. Something the corporations don't want anyone to know about. What is it? A reactor. Old technology. Pre-colonial. It powers the settlement. But it's unstable. Has been for years. One wrong move and the whole planet goes up. Marcus looked at her. And you want to blow it up? Yes. That's insane. I'm practical. The reactor core is worth billions. Corporations will pay anything to prevent it from going critical, or to salvage it before it does. So this is a ransom play. Exactly. We threaten to blow it. They pay us to stop. Everyone wins. What about the people living on this planet? Caliph leaned forward. Those people are guilty, smugglers, thieves. You think they care about anything but themselves. This is the outer reach, survival of the fittest. Marcus didn't respond. The woman wasn't wrong. Port Kale was a cesspool, a swamp, but blowing up a planet that was crossing a line. I can't do this without you. I need you, Kayla said. The reactor is heavily guarded. Corporate security, military drones. I can't get in alone. But with you, with your piloting skills, we can do this. What if I say no? Then I'll do it anyway, and I'll probably die trying. She looked into his eyes. But I'd rather be with you. The last part felt sincere, real. Marcus realized she wasn't just talking about the job. He thought about his options. Walk away, go back to the spaceship, die slowly in the darkness, or take the risk, do something important. Even if it was crazy, let's blow up the planet. What's the plan? Kayla smiled. I knew you'd stay. The next week was preparation. Kayla had connections in Port Kale, people who owed her. She called them information, materials, plans of the reactor facility. Marcus studied everything the plan details, the facility's security. The facility stood beneath Port Kale, deep underground. Access looked difficult. Biometric locks, armed guards at every checkpoint, and the reactor itself was a massive labyrinth of cooling pipes and radiation shields. How do we get in? There must be a way, Marcus said. There already is. Maintenance tunnel, used for waste disposal. It's monitored but not heavily guarded because it's full of toxic waste. Details. Caliph pulled out a schematic. We'll enter here, through the tunnel, bypass the checkpoints, reach the reactor core, place the explosives, get out before anyone notices. What about the guards? We'll go quiet. No alarms, no firing unless necessary. Marcus raised an eyebrow. You, quiet. I can be subtle when it matters. He met that with skepticism. But the plan was solid, risky, but solid. They gathered equipment for 2 more days. EMP charges to disable drones, breaching charges for locked doors, radiation suits for the tunnel, and enough explosives to turn the reactor into a crater. Caliph called in new elements. Her syndicate was large. They had resources. 3 more people joined them. Vec, a tech specialist, human, nervous but skilled. Ro, a Krelian enforcer, silent, deadly, and Mira, another Valari, younger than Caliph, less augmented, but loyal. Do we trust them? Marcus asked. We don't have another choice. She was right. The night arrived. They gathered in a secret warehouse. Plans were made. Preparations were complete. Something was missing. You hadn't subscribed yet and hadn't hit like. Marcus suited up. The radiation suit was bulky, hot, but necessary. Caleb put one on too. Hers fit her body like a second skin, designed for her cybernetics. Remember, she said to the team, we move fast. Stay quiet. No engagement unless necessary. Our target is the reactor. Nothing else matters. Everyone nodded. They moved out. The maintenance tunnel entrance was hidden beneath a pile of scrap metal. Vec hacked the lock. The door slid open. A wave of heat and smell poured out. Wonderful, Marcus muttered. They descended. Single file. The tunnel was narrow. Rusty metal walls dripped with condensation. Pipes overhead hissed. The air was thick. Hard to breathe even through the suit's filters. Marcus was in front. Caleb right behind him. The others followed. They walked for 20 minutes. The tunnel stretched endlessly. Emergency lights flickered. Shadows danced on the walls. Marcus kept his weapon ready. Every instinct screamed danger. Then they reached the first checkpoint. A sealed door. Biometric scanner glowing red. Vic stepped forward. He pulled out a device. Attached it to the scanner. Code streamed across a screen. 2 minutes. He whispered. Marcus watched the tunnel behind them. Nothing. Yet the scanner beeped. Green light. Door open. They entered. The facility opened up. Massive. Industrial. The reactor core stood in the center. A towering structure of metal and glass. Energy pulsed within. Blue light creating eerie shadows. Guards patrolled the walkways. 6 of them. Maybe more out of sight. Drones hovered near the ceiling. Red sensors swept the floor. Caleb whispered. Drones? He nodded. Pulled out a small device. Pressed a button. The drones froze. Fell from the air. Crashed to the ground. The guards reacted immediately, shouting. Weapons raised. To leave for quiet. Marcus said, Plan B. Caleb replied. She raised her pistol. Fired. Chaos erupted. Again. There was always chaos with her. Marcus moved. Firing. Taking cover behind machinery. 1 guard fell. Then another. Caleb fought beside him. Her movements fluid. Precise. Almost beautiful. Roll charged. His blades flashed. Guards fell screaming. Mira covered them. Her rifle barked. Controlled shots. Vec ran to the reactor controls. Marcus and Caleb followed, providing cover. More guards poured in. Too many. They were outnumbered, outgunned. We need to move. Marcus shouted. Almost done. Vec reached the control panel. His fingers flew. 30 seconds. A plasma beam scorched the wall next to Marcus. He fired back. His magazine clicked empty. Reloaded. Kept firing. Caleb took a hit. Shoulder. She stumbled, but didn't fall. Return fire. Drop the shooter. Done. Vec yelled. Charges placed. 5 minutes. Go. 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 Caleb screamed. They ran. Back the way they came. Guards pursuing. Bullets flying. Marcus felt something hit his suit. A tear. Heat flooded in. Radiation. He ignored it. Kept running. Well, didn't make it. A plasma beam took him from behind. He collapsed. Didn't get up. Mira screamed. Fired wildly. Covering their retreat. They reached the tunnel. Dove in. Sealed the door behind them. For minutes. Vec gasped. They ran. Faster. The tunnel seemed endless. Marcus's lungs burned. His suit was failing. Alarms rang inside his helmet. Keep going. Caleb grabbed his arm. Pulled him forward. They burst out of the tunnel. Into the night. Kept running. Away from Port Kale. Away from the reactor. Behind them. The ground trembled. Then the world exploded. The reactor went critical. A pillar of light shot up from Port Kale. Blue. Blinding. The shockwave followed. Took Marcus off his feet. Hit the ground hard. Ears ringing. Vision blurred. When he lifted his head, Port Kale was gone. Just a crater. Glowing. Molten. Thousands dead. Just like that. Caleb lay beside him. Her suit burned. Blood on her face. But she was smiling. We did it. She whispered. Marcus looked at the destruction. Felt nothing. Numbness. Maybe shock. Or something worse. We need to go, Caleb said. Got to her feet. Pulled him up. Before corporate security arrives, they staggered to where they'd hidden the stolen shuttle. Vec and Mira were already there. Alive. Barely. Marcus climbed into the pilot's seat. Fired up the engines. His hands were shaking. He forced them steady. The shuttle lifted off. They flew away from Zyvara, away from the crater that was Portkale. Where to? Marcus asked. Anywhere but here. Kayla sat beside him. Her hand found his, squeezed. We're rich now. Corporations will pay anything to avoid another disaster like this. Marcus didn't respond, just flew into the darkness, into the unknown. Behind them, Zyvara burned. For 3 days they drifted, staying off the grid. Caleb contacted her buyers, anonymous channels, encrypted messages. The corporations responded. They wanted to negotiate, but something had changed. Marcus felt it, the weight of what they'd done, the lives they'd taken. It wasn't like war. This was different, colder. Caleb noticed. You're thinking too much. We killed thousands of people. We survived. That's what matters, is it? She didn't answer. Instead, she moved closer. Her hand touched his face, turned him toward her. We're alive, Marcus. That's more than most people get. He wanted to argue, to say it wasn't enough. But when he looked into her violet eyes, the words died. She kissed him, hard, desperate, like she was trying to prove something. Or forget. Marcus responded. For a moment, everything disappeared. The guilt, the death, the darkness, just her. Just this. When they separated, she smiled. See, we're fine. But they weren't. Marcus knew it. And deep down, so did she. The negotiations lasted another week. Caleb played it perfectly, threatening, demanding. The corporations finally agreed. 10 million credits, transferred to an anonymous account. More money than Marcus had ever seen. We're set, Caleb said. We can go anywhere, do anything, start over. Where? Terminus 7, a neutral colony. No corporate control, no military, just people trying to live. We can disappear there. Marcus thought about it. A new beginning. No more running, no more jobs, just life. Okay, he said. Caleb's smile was genuine, real. Okay. 2 days later they arrived at Terminus 7. The planet was beautiful, green, lush, nothing like Zyvara, a terraformed paradise at the edge of the reach. They landed at the main spaceport. Vec and Mira went their separate ways, took their shares, disappeared into the colony. Marcus and Caleb walked through the city. It was clean, peaceful. People smiled. Children played in the streets. Normal life, the kind Marcus had forgotten. What do you think? Caleb asked. It's nice. We can stay here, build something, together. Marcus looked at her, really looked. She was different here, softer, the hard edges gone. Just a woman, not a criminal, not a weapon. Yes, he said. We can. They found a small apartment overlooking the city, rented it with their new fortune, furnished it, made it a home for the first time in years. Marcus felt something close to happiness. 3 weeks passed. They lived quietly. Marcus found work as a cargo pilot, legitimate jobs. Caleb used her skills consulting on security systems, legal, boring, perfect. They spent evenings on the apartment balcony, watching sunsets, talking, laughing, slowly becoming something more than accomplices. One night, Caleb turned to him. Do you regret it? What we did? Marcus thought. I don't know. Does it matter? It matters to me. Then no, I don't regret it. We survived. That's enough. She smiled, leaned against him. I thought you'd hate me. I probably should, but you don't. No, I don't. She kissed him again, this time slower, gentler, like they had all the time in the world. Maybe they did. The attack came without warning. Marcus and Caleb were walking through the market. Evening. The streets were crowded. Vendors selling food, music playing, laughter everywhere. Then Marcus heard it. A sound he knew too well. The charging of a plasma rifle. He moved on instinct. Grabbed Caleb, pulled her down. The shot missed. Barely, scorched the wall behind them. People screamed, scattered. Chaos. Marcus drew his pistol, scanned for the shooter. There, on a rooftop, 50 meters away. He fired, missed. The shooter ducked. Who is this? Caleb hissed. I have no idea. More shots, from different angles. They were surrounded, trapped. Marcus grabbed Caleb's hand. Run. They ran through the market, knocking over stalls, people getting out of the way. Plasma beams chasing them, this way. Caleb pulled him into an alley. They ran, turned corners, dodged fire. Marcus's heart pounded. This wasn't random. Someone had found them. They reached a dead end. High walls on three sides. No exit. The shooters appeared. Three of them, masked, armed. Professional. Marcus raised his pistol. Stay back. They didn't listen. Advanced slowly. Then Kayla moved. Fast. Her cybernetics kicked in. Covered the distance in seconds. Her blade flashed. One shooter fell. Then another. The third fired. Hit her. Sent her mask. Kayla stumbled. Fell. No. Marcus fired. Emptied his magazine. The shooter dropped. He ran to Kayla. Dropped to his knees beside her. Stay with me. She looked at him. Blood pooling beneath her. Too much blood. Marcus, you're fine. You'll be fine. She smiled. Weak. Fading. Liar. Kayla, please. It's okay. Her hand found his. Cold. We had time. That's more than most people get. Don't do this. Don't do this. Her violet eyes locked onto his. Thank you for making me feel human again. Then the light went out. Her hand went slack. She was gone. Marcus knelt there, holding her. The world blurred. Sound disappeared. Everything became distant, unreal. She was gone, and he was alone. Marcus didn't remember how long he sat there. Minutes, hours. Time meant nothing. The market had emptied. People fled. Security would arrive soon. He didn't care. Kayla's body lay in his arms. Still warm, still beautiful, but gone. The light in her violet eyes extinguished forever. He wanted to scream, to rage, to destroy everything. But nothing came, just emptiness. A void where something had been growing. Something he'd almost let himself feel. Love. And now it was gone. Footsteps approached. Marcus looked up. Security officers. 6 of them. Weapons drawn. Step away from the body. One ordered. Marcus didn't move. Sir, step away. Now, slowly, Marcus laid Kayla down. Gently, like she might break. He stood. His pistol was empty. He left it holstered. Who did this? An officer asked. Marcus looked at the 3 dead shooters. Professional killers. No identification. No markings. But he knew what they were. Corporate hitmen. Someone had found them. Someone who remembered Port Kale. Who remembered the crater. The thousands dead. Revenge. Always revenge. I don't know. Marcus lied. The officers didn't believe him. But they had no evidence. No reason to hold him. They took statements. Scanned the scene. Removed the bodies. All of them, including Kayla. Marcus watched them take her away. A black bag. Just another corpse. Another casualty of the Reach. Then he was alone. He returned to their apartment. The one they'd made home. Everything was exactly as they left it. Coffee cups on the counter. Her jacket draped over a chair. A half-read book on the table. All the small pieces of a life they'd been building. Marcus sat on the balcony. Watched the sunset. The same view they'd shared for 3 weeks. But it looked different now. Empty. Colorless. He thought about leaving. Getting back in the Valkyria and flying away. Disappearing into the black like he'd done before. But where would he go? What would he do? Everything felt pointless. Kayla had made him feel something again. Hope. Connection. The possibility of more than just survival. And someone had taken that from him. Marcus's grief began to shift. Slowly, like a tide turning. The emptiness filled with something else. Something cold. Hard. Rage. He stood. Went inside. Opened his gear bag. The one he kept packed out of habit. Old military instincts. Always ready to run. He pulled out his weapons. The Spectral X9. Magazines. His combat knife. Body armor. Everything he'd need. Someone had killed Kayla. Someone who thought they could walk away. Disappear. Forget. They were wrong. Marcus Vega was a lot of things. Pilot. Soldier. Criminal. Survivor. But most of all, he was a hunter. And he was going hunting. Finding the killers took 3 days. Marcus used every contact he had, every favor owed. The underground network that existed in places like Terminus 7. Information cost money. He paid. Information cost blood. He paid that too. The shooters had been hired through a broker, a man named Talvix. He operated out of the lower districts, where the colony's shine faded and the real business happened. Marcus found him in a gambling den, surrounded by guards. Protected, or so he thought. Marcus walked through the front door. Didn't hide, didn't sneak, just walked. The guards noticed immediately. Hands went to weapons. I'm here for Talvix, Marcus said. His voice was calm, flat, empty. He's not taking visitors. He'll take me. A guard stepped forward. Big, ugly, armed. Leave. Now. Marcus moved. Fast. Years of combat training taking over. He grabbed the guard's weapon, twisted. The man's wrist snapped. He screamed. Marcus drove an elbow into his throat. He went down choking. The other guards drew weapons. Marcus already had his pistol out. Anyone else? He asked. They hesitated, looked at each other, at their friend on the floor, at Marcus's cold eyes. They stepped back. Marcus walked past them, into Talvix's office. The broker sat behind a desk. Then, nervous, sweating, Marcus Vega, Talvix said, I wondered when you come. You hired the shooters. I'm just a middleman. I arrange meetings. I don't ask questions. Marcus put his pistol on the desk, pointed at Talvix's head. Wrong answer. Wait. Talvix raised his hands. I'll tell you. Just don't talk. It was a corporation. Helix Industries. They wanted you both dead. Revenge for Port Kale, for the reactor. They lost billions. They wanted blood. Who gave the order? An executive. Roland Costeris. He runs their security division. He's on Helix Station. 3 days from here. Marcus stared at him. Processing. Helix Industries. One of the largest corporations in the Reach. Powerful. Ruthless. And now, his enemy. How many more are coming for me? I don't know, I swear. That was the only contract I brokered. Marcus believed him. Talvix was too scared to lie. He picked up his pistol. Turned to leave. Wait, Talvix said. You're going after them? After Helix? That's suicide. Marcus looked back. Probably. Then he walked out. Helix Station orbited a gas giant in the Cronus system. A massive structure. Commercial hub. Corporate headquarters. Home to 50,000 people. And somewhere inside, Roland Costeris, the man who ordered Kayla's death. Marcus arrived in the Valkyria. He'd upgraded her over the past week. New weapons, better shields. The 10 billion credits from Port Kale bought a lot of hardware. He didn't have a plan. Not really. Plans required caring about survival. Marcus had stopped caring. He docked at the station's commercial port, walked through security. His weapons were concealed, his armor hidden beneath a coat. He looked like any other traveler. Finding Costeris was easy. The man had an office on the executive level. Floor 97. Marcus took the elevator, rode it in silence. Other passengers chatted, laughed, living their lives unaware. The doors opened. Marcus stepped out. The executive level was pristine. White walls, soft lighting, expensive art. Security was tight. Guards at every corridor. Cameras everywhere. Marcus walked to the nearest guard. I'm here to see Roland Costeris. Do you have an appointment? No. Then you need to leave. Marcus punched him. Hard. The guard dropped. Alarms blared immediately. More guards rushed in. Marcus drew his pistol. Started firing. He moved through the level like a storm. Fast. Brutal. Efficient. Guards fell. Barriers shattered. He didn't stop. Didn't slow. He reached Costeris' office. Kicked the door open. The executive stood behind his desk. Mid-50s. Gray hair. Expensive suit. He looked shocked. Terrified. Marcus Vega. He said, I should have sent more killers. You should have left us alone. You destroyed Port Kale. Thousands died. Did you think there wouldn't be consequences? There are always consequences. Marcus raised his pistol. Now you get yours. Wait. I can pay you. 10 million. 20. Whatever you want. I want her back. Costeris' face paled. I can't. I know. Marcus fired. Once. Center mass. Costeris collapsed. Dead before he hit the floor. It didn't feel like justice. It didn't feel like anything. Just another body. Another death in a galaxy full of them. Marcus turned to leave. More guards filled the doorway. Dozens. All armed. All aiming at him. Drop the weapon. The lead guard shouted. Marcus looked at them. Considered his options. He could fight. Probably die. Or he could surrender. Spend the rest of his life in a corporate prison. Both options seemed fine. He raised his pistol. Not at them. At himself. Don't. The guard yelled. Marcus's finger tightened on the trigger. Then he stopped. He saw her. Kalith. Not really. A memory. Her smile. Her violet eyes. Her voice. We're alive, Marcus. That's more than most people get. She'd been right. They'd had time. 3 weeks. 3 weeks of something real. Something good. More than most people ever got. And she wouldn't want this. Wouldn't want him to throw it away. To waste what they'd built together. Marcus lowered his pistol. Dropped it. Raised his hands. I surrender. They arrested him. Threw him in a cell. Charged him with murder. Corporate courts weren't kind to killers. Especially ones who killed executives. Marcus sat in his cell. Waiting. Thinking. About Caliph. About everything they'd done. The good. The bad. The beautiful. The terrible. He loved her. He realized that now. Too late. Always too late. But he'd loved her. And that meant something. In a galaxy of violence and darkness and death, they'd found something real. Brief. Fleeting. But real. 3 weeks. That's all they'd had. But it had been enough. The trial was quick. Evidence was overwhelming. Marcus didn't defend himself. Didn't speak. Just accepted the verdict. Life in prison. No parole. No appeal. Fine. He'd lived worse. They transferred him to a maximum security facility on a frozen moon. Gray walls. Artificial light. No windows. No sky. Just concrete and steel and emptiness. Marcus adapted. He'd always been good at that. Surviving. Enduring. He spent his days in the yard. Working out. Staying sharp. Nights in his cell. Thinking. Remembering. Other inmates left him alone. Something in his eyes warned them away. The look of a man who'd lost everything. Who had nothing left to fear. Months passed. A year. Then Marcus aged. Gray crept into his hair. Lines deepened on his face. But his body stayed strong. His mind stayed sharp. And every night he thought of her, Caliph, her smile, her laugh, the way she'd made him feel human again. He kept one possession. A small photo. One of the few they'd taken together. On the balcony. Sunset behind them. Both smiling. Happy. He looked at it every night. Before sleep. A reminder of what he'd had. What he'd lost. Of what had been worth it. 5 years into his sentence. Something changed. A riot broke out. Inmates versus guards. The facility descended into chaos. Fires. Screams. Violence. Marcus stayed in his cell. Didn't participate. Didn't care. Then the door opened. A guard stood there. Bleeding. Dying. Go. The guard gasped. Before they lock it down, Marcus looked at him. Why? Because you don't belong here. I read your file. What you did. Who you were. You're a soldier, not a criminal. The guard coughed blood. Go. Live. That's an order. Marcus hesitated, then nodded. He took the guard's weapon, stepped over his body, walked out. The facility was chaos. Inmates running. Guards shooting. Flames everywhere. Marcus moved through it like a ghost. Past the fighting. Past the dying. To the landing bay. A shuttle sat there. Fuel. Ready. Marcus climbed in. Started the engines. Lifted off. No one stopped him. No one cared. Just another casualty of the riot. He flew away from the frozen moon. Into the black. Into freedom. Marcus drifted for weeks. Using back channels. Avoiding detection. The Valkyria was still impounded, but he'd stolen another ship. Nothing fancy. But it flew. He didn't have a destination. Didn't have a plan. Just flew. Trying to figure out what came next. He thought about going back. To Terminus 7. To the apartment. The balcony. The memories. But he couldn't. Too painful. Too empty without her. Instead, he flew to the edge of the reach, where civilization faded. Where the stars were brighter. Where no one would find him. He found a small moon. Uninhabited. Beautiful. Green valleys. Clear streams. Mountains in the distance. Marcus landed. Stepped out. Breathed real air for the first time in 5 years. It smelled like freedom. He built a small cabin. By hand. Using salvage materials from his ship. It took months. But he had nothing but time. When it was finished, he sat on the porch. Watched the sunset. Just like he and Caliph used to. He pulled out the photo. Worn. Faded. But still clear. Her smile. His smile. Both of them happy. We had time. Marcus said to the empty air. That's more than most people get. The wind carried his words away. He sat there until darkness fell. Stars filled the sky. Billions of them. Cold. Distant. Beautiful. Marcus Vega had been a soldier. A pilot. A criminal. a killer, a lover. Now he was just a man, alone on a moon at the edge of everything, carrying memories of 3 weeks that had meant everything. It wasn't the life he'd planned. It wasn't the ending he'd wanted, but it was enough. He'd loved, he'd lost, he'd survived. That was all anyone could do. Marcus stood, went inside, closed the door, and began the slow work of learning to live again. Epilogue. Years passed. Marcus aged. His hair went white. His body slowed, but his mind stayed sharp. His memory stayed clear. He never forgot her, Kayla, the woman who'd made him feel human again, who'd given him 3 weeks of something real. Sometimes, late at night, he swore he could hear her voice, feel her presence, see her smile. Maybe it was memory. Maybe it was madness. Maybe it was hope. It didn't matter. She'd been real. What they'd had was real. And that was enough. Marcus Vega died on that moon, alone, peaceful, in his sleep. His last thought was of her. Her violet eyes, her metallic skin, her smile. And for the first time in years, Marcus smiled back. Then the darkness came. But it was warm, soft, welcoming. And somewhere in that darkness, he could have sworn he heard her voice. Thank you for making me feel human again. Marcus's smile widened. You too, he whispered. Then he was gone. You just witnessed something rare. A story that didn't pull punches. That didn't give you the happy ending you wanted. Because life doesn't work that way. Not in the outer reach. Not anywhere. Marcus Vega started as a man running from his past. A soldier turned cargo pilot. Alone, surviving, nothing more. Then he met Kayla, a woman who was more machine than human, more weapon than person. But underneath all that metal and circuitry, she was real, alive, searching for the same thing Marcus was. Connection. They found it. For 3 weeks. 3 perfect weeks on Terminus 7. Walking through markets, watching sunsets, building something that neither of them thought they deserved. And then it was ripped away. That's the thing about the galaxy, about life. It doesn't care about your plans, your hopes, your 3 weeks of happiness. It takes what it wants, leaves you with memories and scars. But here's what matters. Here's what Marcus understood at the end. Those 3 weeks were worth it. Every moment, every conversation, every sunset on that balcony. Worth the pain that came after. Worth the loss. Worth everything. Because in a universe of darkness and violence and endless void, Marcus and Kayla found something real. They made each other human again, even if only briefly. Even if it couldn't last. Think about your own life. How many moments have you had like that? Moments where everything felt right, where you connected with someone, where you felt truly alive. Not many, right? Most people go their whole lives without experiencing what Marcus and Kayla had. 3 weeks. That's all it took to change everything. To make a hardened soldier remember what it meant to feel. To give a cybernetic weapon a reason to smile. 3 weeks that meant more than decades of just existing. Marcus spent his final years alone, on a moon at the edge of everything. Some might call that tragic, a waste. But Marcus understood the truth. He'd lived more in those 3 weeks than most people live in a lifetime. He'd loved, he'd fought, he'd sacrificed, he'd survived. And in the end, he died with a smile, because he remembered every moment, every touch, every word. Kayla's violet eyes, her metallic skin catching the sunset, her laugh, her strength, her humanity. She made him human again, and he did the same for her. That's the real story. Not the explosions, not the heists, not the planets destroyed or the corporations challenged. It's about the broken people finding each other in a broken galaxy, making each other whole, even if only temporarily. You felt it, didn't you? That connection, that chemistry, the way they moved from enemies to partners to something more, the way Marcus's walls came down, the way Kayla let herself be vulnerable, real. Stories like this remind us what matters. Not the credits in your account, not the power you wield, not how long you survive, but who you connect with, who you love, who makes you feel human. In the end, we're all Marcus, searching for our Kayla, for those 3 weeks that make everything worth it. And when you find them, those moments, those people, those connections, you hold on, you cherish them, you let them change you, because they won't last forever. Nothing does, but they'll matter. They'll mean something. They'll make you human. Just like Kayla made Marcus human again. Just like Marcus made Kayla human again. 3 weeks. That's all it took. And it was enough.